Alrighty, looks like we got Menagerie and Nocturne today. Let's check the Druid boons real fast. Mountain, Earth, and Field. Could be better. I could see those maybe coming up. So the first thing that jumps out to me is there are no villages in this kingdom at all. And that makes a number of these cards look a lot worse. Yeah, most of the important cards in this kingdom are kind of hosed by the lack of a village. Puka is a draw card, but it's a terminal draw card. You don't want to play that with no villages because any action cards you draw off of it, you're drawing dead. Leprechaun gets a lot worse without a village. It would not be hard to get Leprechaun to 7 cards in play here between all the cantrips. But with no villages, you play 7 cards, including your Leprechaun. Your turn ends there. You can't play on any further, which is a pretty major impediment. Falconer looks a lot worse without a village. Yeah, there's no good way to activate Falconer mid-turn, gain an action card, and play on. Yeah, the lack of actions is a bit of a problem here. For draw, well, Puka's draw, but again, not really because it's terminal. There's Wave the Mole, which technically could be draw. You play a bunch of cards, drop back up to 3, play some cards, drop to 3. Question is, what are those cards you're playing in between moling? And there's not great action-based payload here either. You could play Druid with Field's Gift for 1 coin. I'd play 2 Druids, play a 3rd card as Way of the Mole, play 2 more Druids. That doesn't sound very good. Secret Cave doesn't even really work, because you have to discard 3 cards. Like if Mole drew up to 4, then conceivably you could play Secret Cave, discard 3 cards, play your 4th card to draw up, play a Secret Cave, play a Mole, and so on. But if you discard 3 cards from a hand of 3 cards, your turn's over. So that doesn't work. A third source of draw that I quite enjoy, but is objectively, I think, not very strong, I wonder if the bot would fall for it, is Necromancer plus horses is a thing, potentially. So supplies gives you a horse every time you play it. And horse is a one-shot laboratory that draws on net 1 card. The trouble is, supplies on its own is not a draw card, because supplies, the turn you play it, is a stop card. It's just a copper. And then it gives you +1 card next turn by putting a horse into your deck. And that is just breaking even over the long term. It's like a delayed peddler or a delayed poacher. That's how I would think about that. Or you get the coin immediately, but you get to draw next turn. So just buying a bunch of supplies. I mean, supplies is a good card. It's like a peddler for 2, but it is not a draw card. But what you could do is with Necromancer, there's a number of zombies that you start the game with in the trash that can trash action cards. Zombie Apprentice, Zombie Mason. You could trash horses instead of playing them, put them into the trash, and then now that the horses are in the trash, you can play the zombie horses as Necromancer, basically turning your Necromancers into labs. Now, each horse can only be played once per turn, because then it flips face down and can't be played anymore. So for each Necromancer you want to be a lab, you have to put an additional horse in the trash. The problem with all that is it takes a bunch of setup. You got to get a bunch of horses, trash the horses instead of playing them, and then you turn on your Necromancers to be labs in the future turns. But if your opponent notices that, they can just buy the Necromancers and get the upside of you powered up the Necromancers without going through all the work of doing it. I find that in practice versus humans, at least, it often works anyway, because they're just not paying attention, or they're like, what are you doing? Why do you have 5 Necromancers? And then you put horses in the trash, and then it's too late for them to buy up Necromancers and to counter that. I don't know if the bot will play around that. Maybe we'll find out. But given the lack of draw otherwise, maybe Necromancer and supplies could be a thing. Thinning, there's Sanctuary, which looks good. There's Puka, which looks okay as a thinner, even if not as a draw card. There's also Zombie Mason, which can trash a card from the top of your deck. That's okay-ish. So plenty of thinning. Plus bio, you got Stockpile, Sanctuary, Druid as well. So thinning and buys are fine. There are 2 different heirlooms here. So because Puka and Secret Cave are in the kingdom, 2 of the starting coppers are replaced with special heirlooms. So both of them are going to be my turn 2 hand because I don't see them here. Magic Lamp is really significant. Popping this is usually a huge tempo swing. You get a copper out of your deck and replace it with 3 wishes, which are just gain 1 card of whatever. Where's the wish? So turning 1 copper into 3 wishes is phenomenal. So trying to activate Magic Lamp usually is one of the most important priorities early on. Want to get a number of distinct cards, play them all, which means thinning my deck so I can line them up. Curse Gold is usually terrible. Gaining a curse isn't the end of the world here because you can exile it again with Sanctuary, but generally you don't want to play Curse Gold unless you have to. So effectively, I've got like a 3-3 split here, or a 3-6 if I wanted to play the Curse Gold. You could open with like Stockpile and Puka, or Supplies and Puka. You could open with Stockpile, Secret Cave, or Supplies and Sanctuary. Could just open Sanctuary, Stockpile maybe. I think that's what I'm leaning to at the moment. I think Secret Cave looks like a better opening when there's good 2s around, because if you play Secret Cave, you discard 3 cards. You typically have 2 cards left in hand, 2 coppers, and then you can buy a 2. And so if there's no 2s, the turn where you discard a Secret Cave is otherwise doing nothing. With a decent 2-cost card like Supplies, feel okay opening Secret Cave. Stockpile is actually not amazing here, because when you play it, it immediately exiles itself, and you can get it back by buying new stockpiles. But because it exiles itself immediately, it doesn't count as a card in play for Magic Lamp purposes. But the fact that it gives 3 immediately just makes it too good at hitting 5, I think, to pass up on. I want to get Sanctuaries on the deck. Okay, now I have more money than I know what to do with. Probably a Sanctuary and take the stockpile back. I got 2 of them. I guess just the Supplies now. Second Sanctuary or Puka. Probably Puka is slightly better than a second Sanctuary. I mean, it draws stuff dead, but it draws 4 cards at once, which is good, and it is a distinct card, so potentially helps towards activating Magic Lamp. I'm considering playing the Horse's Way of the Mole, so I could just draw 2 cards, or I could pitch this whole hand and draw 3 more. Stockpile's an okay card, but otherwise this is a lot of junk. I want to get back to the Sanctuary and the Puka. Also, if I play the Horse's Way of the Mole, it doesn't return itself to the pile, because it doesn't execute its normal instructions. And so I'd have a horse next turn. I think I'm going to do this. I'm not totally sure about that. Looks like it paid off okay-ish. So if I play the Secret Cave and I draw my 3rd estate, I'm really sad. Puka can't trash that. If I draw... Oh no, there's no downside here. I was contemplating between playing it as Way of the Mole and playing it normally. But if I play it and don't draw a card Puka can trash, I could have just played Puka's Way of the Mole anyway. So there's no reason not to play it and check. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's activation. Take a second Supplies, or a 3rd Supplies, I guess. Well, I'm going to play this one normally. I was thinking I was more likely to draw some Wishes and be able to play one. No. 2 Necromancers. See if the bot punishes me. Here I can take a free Falconer and at least activate on itself. If I don't want it later, I can trash it with Zombie Apprentice for like 1-shot draw. Second Sanctuary, get rid of the Cursed Gold. This could be a good... I haven't talked about it at all, but this could be a good turn to buy Commerce. Gain a gold per differently named card you've gained this turn. I'm getting a bunch of stuff off of the Wishes. What do I want here? Falconer, play this. Yeah, stockpile to hand. And yeah, this is why Puka sucks. Is exactly that scenario. Supplies, Commerce. I've got a thin deck full of gold, so I'm probably not drawing my deck consistently from here on out. But I should be hitting Province consistently, which is good enough in a weak kingdom. I want to find at least some sort of plus buy. Okay, now I can feel okay playing Puka. Okay, if I want to activate the Falconer, which I don't necessarily need to, I need to take a 2-type card. Raider is 2 types. 3 types, actually. Not a phenomenal card or anything, but it comes with a free Necromancer if I want it. Another Falconer, not feeling a 3rd one. I'm going to buy a Raider. I could play it as Way of the Mole, but I couldn't play any of the cards that I drew, so there's no reason to do that. And the bot still has no necromancers. So it's gonna let me get away with this. Okay, I want to activate the other falconer, so I guess I'll gain a secret cave. Could be a druid as well. Druid's 2 types because of the boons. Leprechaun is 2 types because it gives out hexes. Don't think I want either of those very much. Province and duchy. This isn't going to be a great turn. I guess it's a province at least. We have 0 cards in common. I actually did play a number of those cards. I didn't play a stockpile that turn, but I didn't play horse either. Never mind. The thing I was gonna say was false. I was gonna say I did play a stockpile on a horse, neither of which is true. But even if you played a stockpile on a horse, they're not in play anymore, so they don't activate the raider effect. I'm gonna play this one as a horse. I don't think I have enough necromancers in my deck to need more than 3 horses in the trash at the moment. Let's go ahead and trash this falconer. Don't really need them that much at the moment. Probably here I'm gaining a stockpile for additional buys. Oh, I didn't even realize that was 24. Okay, well that's the game. Yeah, a bit of an awkward kingdom. I don't know that there's an overarching game plan. You just activate Magic Lamp early. I think I got a fairly lucky early activation, if I recall correctly. And then your deck kicks off after that. Yeah, the turn you play all the wishes, you can get a bunch of golds, and then your deck is functional. The Necromancer horse thing worked out here. I think, with optimal play, the bot probably could have punched that a little bit by adding some Necromancers, but I don't think that's where the bot lost the game or anything. I think I was well ahead, probably off the back of the early activation. The bot's deck, it's kind of hard to evaluate because I don't know. Were most of these things exiled? The bot had 5 of its junk cards exiled, which is an okay amount. It does open with Sanctuary, which seems good. Sanctuary Supply seems like a totally fine opening to me. And then a second Sanctuary. Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say I'm surprised at how little the bot has exiled. It's only exiled 5 total cards this entire game, despite opening with Sanctuary turn 1 and adding a second one on turn 3. It did take 2 curses to do that, which is a bit of a downside. But it also bottom decked its Sanctuary. You can see here it doesn't play at turn 3 or turn 4. And then it looks like it bottom decked its second Sanctuary too, doesn't it? Yeah, it plays 1 turn 5, the one that it previously bottom decked, and then doesn't play its second one turn 5 or turn 6. I think it looks like the bot had some pretty unfortunate shuffles. Gets around to playing them turn 7, but at that point it's pretty behind. So the bot had some trouble early on with the draws.